Hey guys, making a video today to show how I make my version of the wrench mask. I'm going to be stopped selling these soon through my Etsy, so I figured it was only right to put it out there in case you guys wanted to make your own of the way that I do it. So first you're going to get your airsoft mask. I get it off of Amazon. I'll have a link down below. Take off the unnecessary parts. You don't need these, just chuck them. Then separate the goggles from the lower section. Just like that. You're going to go through and clip off these little pegs here. Alright. So this one's going to be one with a voice mod. If you're not doing that, then just take off this one right here. But if you're installing the voice mod, you need to also take off these two foam pieces. Then we'll take our Dremel with a little routing tool here. And this is great for doing the holes for the rivets. So we're going to put one right here for the batteries for the Chemion. One right here for the voice mod, and one right here for the voice mod battery box. Okay, so now that that's done, we need to get rid of these ridges because your spikes aren't going to work well in there. So we're going to Dremel those off with a sanding attachment. Okay, so now that we have those sanded down, no more ridges. Once again, this is only if you're doing the voice mod for this part. Gonna take the routering tool and router out the spot for the speakers. Okay, so now we have our holes cut in there. Now I'm going to take some dikes and just cut off a little chunk here. Gives you a little more room to work with wiring. I like to clean these out a little bit. Just make it so there's nothing pushing up against the speaker. Alright, after that's done, you want to take a scuff pad or a scouring pad and just kind of rough up the surface where you're going to be gluing on the vinyl. If you don't do this, the glue probably won't stick and it's just going to fall off. Don't forget to do these side pieces here. It's going to be very important later on. If you don't scuff these well, it just will not stick there. After you're done with that, you should have a nice dulled surface everywhere where you're going to be using super glue. This is just something that I do to mine. I do some laser engravings to make it a little more special. Don't expect everyone to have a laser at home, just showing the full process of what I do. So there's that. Alright, so now we're going to cut the vinyl faux leather stuff that goes on the bottom half of the mask. Real easy to find, pretty much any craft or hobby store. Got a form here. I'll have these up on my Etsy that can be up for download, so that way you can get the right sizes. Let's take this. And trace around. And then just flip it to do the other side. And we'll just cut those out. And now we have our two pieces ready to go onto the lower half. Up next, we're going to do our thicker foam that goes where the goggles are and the lower half of the mask. This you can get at pretty much any craft store, just some black foam. This one is the 0.2 inch. So not real thick, but thick enough where it adds some padding. So we'll grab the goggle form, put it down here, away from our, we want to make sure to leave enough room for the bottom foam. And just trace it. Then we'll take an X-Acto knife, and right here it helps if you have, you know, a hat with a spotlight or something like that on it. It get kind of hard to see these lines. And now we're going to make our little pieces that go right underneath the goggles just to kind of tie the whole thing in together. This is made out of a much thinner foam, same brand. You can use whatever. This one's 2mm. So very pliable, very easy to move around. Just trace these with the form. And once again, a headlamp of some sort definitely comes in handy here. And now those pieces are ready. Okay, so now I glued in some hot glue there. Glued in the 40mm speakers. Put those in each slot. Left enough room to solder on the back sides. And now we're gonna go ahead and glue on our lower vinyl. I just kind of line this up to the middle. I start with the left side first. You can probably do it whatever way. About midway. Make sure you leave enough slack at the bottom. And then hold it in place. Then we'll go ahead and put a little glue on here and tack that down. Now I'll go ahead and prep the other side. Slightly overlapping there. Hold in place. Tack this side. This glue available everywhere. I'll probably put a link down below as well, just in case. Okay, so now I use a separate soldering iron for the holes for the speakers, but that's because I make a ton of these. You can probably use your same one. I just don't want to mess up my regular soldering tip. So I'm going to mark where the speaker is, where the edges are. And now you can make whatever pattern you like in there. I normally do a little arrow, but it doesn't matter as long as the speaker has holes to output. Go ahead and do this side. And now I'll go ahead and glue the sides down. Okay, now we're going to glue these tabs. But not the last one yet, if you're doing spikes. We'll leave this one loose for now. And that one. Now I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess here. And then right here, we're going to need to make a little cut so that way that folds over nicely. And get rid of this excess. Same with this side. Right down to the speaker, and then cut that off. Okay, now we're going to glue in these side pieces here. Little dab of hot glue right above the speaker to anchor this piece down. Now we'll do the same over here. So now, we're going to take our little scissors and just cut right up along this ridge. And trim off this little bit of excess here. Just so it doesn't get in the way. Now add a little bit of glue in here. I'm going to hold that down and try to get out any wrinkles. Same over here. Then we'll come back and cut off this excess here in a little bit. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and drill our holes with our routing bit. Do these however you like. I got a certain way I do them, but there's no right or wrong way. Okay, now that that's done, got to lower some of these surfaces here where these round parts are, because it'll make it stick up too high for the spike thread to go all the way through, or at least enough to grab onto. Alright, so now it's time for spikes. Take some spikes, your screws. Put some thread lock on there. Just make sure these don't go anywhere, because the backs of them are not going to be very accessible once we're done. Now I like to go ahead and glue over these just to make sure that they don't rotate. Now we can glue this flap up and under that speaker. Pull back, hold under, push. Out, under, push.